In this video I will show you the lights in Unity. So we will focus only on the direct lighting. Indirect lighting will be in another video. So first let's create a scene. So be sure you work in HDRP project, new scene, and I will take the basic outdoor HDRP. Okay, so here we have the basic scene of Unity, always with a camera, okay, a sun, so that you can of course turn, and normally you should see it somewhere, yes, and you have a sky and fog. So sky and fog, I will speak about that in another video, but this is what gives you this sky, this fog, knowing that this sky will also illuminate your scene, okay. But I will need a few objects. So what I'm going to do, I downloaded the Megapack 1 Lite. Inside there is a Greek temple. So if I go in Greek pack, model, where is it? Prefab. Yeah. And in prefab we have building, and there is this building that they created using all the assets. Okay, so this one is fine for what I want to show you today, and I'm going to create a plane for the ground. Okay, I will put it at 0, 0, 0. Actually this temple, yeah, okay, so here I just need to scale, oops, this ground. Yeah, I will probably change the color because it's really too bright for a ground. Actually I could give perhaps a green color, like kind of grass. So here I'm going to create a folder material. Okay, so folder materials, where I will put all my material, and then I click create material. I will call it mat like grass. Okay, I assign it to my floor, and I will give a green color, dark green color. Okay, so it's shiny. I will not make it shiny, so smoothness to 0. Okay, so we have our scene. Perhaps I could put a green which is closer from this green. Okay. So now we will work on the lighting using this scene. The first light that we have in Unity, this is a directional light. So actually, if you right click here, light, you see directional light, point light, spotlight, area light. The rest, it's something we will see later. So in this video we will work with these 4 lights. The first one is a directional light. So you know already what is a directional light. So if I select the sun, you see this is a directional light. It should be written somewhere. Yes, here, type directional. If I zoom on it, you see it's a vector, it's a direction. So we use it for the light which are extremely far, like sun and moon. Okay, so here you will just turn it. The position, like in Maya, will not change at all your lighting. Only the orientation will be important. Okay, so now so I will not create a directional light. We have already this one, okay, and don't create 2 directional light in the same scene. We never do that, okay, so you need to have only one, this sun. And let's see what parameter we have. So we have this shape angular diameter which will affect your shadows. Okay, so you will see that if I change the angle, we will have shadows which will be more or less sharp. Okay, so the smaller is it, sharper it will be. Okay, so that it works for other lights. Huh? The next thing is, so this one I will close it, general I will close it, this one I will close it. Of course, something super important, this is the color. So here you can change this color. Okay. The other possibility that you have is to use a temperature. Okay. So here you can decide if it is a warm color or blue color. But you have to know that because this is the sun in this scene, if I turn the light, you see the color change. It will change automatically the color of the light. So actually, around noon, the light is not yellow. It is more white, and the light become more yellow or even orange at the end of the day. Okay, but you can do it also manually. Here, you can change that. The next, so this temperature will be in Kelvin here. So sometime in some situation we will give you this temperature. Next very important thing, this is the intensity. So like when you're outside, usually the measure for the intensity is a lux. Okay, so for the sun direction light it will always be lux. So this intensity you can change it here. Okay, so it could be 0, could be 130. You can even go higher, okay, like 200. Okay, but of course it will be too bright. And here you see that when I change this intensity, it will change the logo here. So here it's telling me it's a full sun. Okay, if I move, it's a sun behind the clouds. Here this is a sun more end of the day or beginning of the day. It's really, the intensity is much lower. And here this is more a moon. Okay, so just you see there is written around 1 lux. Okay, so you can also enter the value here. So if it is a strong sun, it will be 120,000. If it is a moon, if I remember, it's more like 5. Okay, so but that it's a value that you have first. This first value is super important. Okay, so it has to be correct from the beginning, otherwise you will have a lot of problem. Okay, so how can we know what is this value? Actually, I will show you a document, so that I don't need it. Okay, about the light in Unity. This is this document on the right given by Unity, and it will be in the slides that I prepared for you. And here you see first you have the color temperature. So it tells you if you want a candle, better to have a color temperature at 1900. If you have a blue sky, this is 15K. If you have a sun around noon, it's 5.5. So this is this value here. Okay, so here it helps you. Sun middle of the day, so he says this is that. Okay, so that you adjust it using this table. After, because you're an artist, you can modify a bit, but don't modify too much. Okay, and the super important thing, this is that the directional light intensity. So that it really gives you very important values. So this is what you need to use in this different case. So if it is a moon, it's 0.5 lux. If it's a sun, it's 130,000 lux. So that it's real value from the real world. And if you use this real value, your lighting will always be correct. Always. After, up to you as an artist, as I say again, if you want to modify it a little bit. This is for the directional light. We will see later when we will work with point light or spotlight. He also give you value and he tell you, for example, interior light, it's 1000. It's not lux here, it's LM for lumens. if it's exterior light like in the street, 10,000. If it's a candle, 12. Okay. uh, and you have here, you see something like exposure. So let's see. Here, if I have for example, yeah, 1200, my lighting is good, I will modify it and put 5000. Okay, so it's clearly darker. So here, this value is like in the real world. In the real world, when you have a lot of light, your eye will adapt. If there is not a lot of light, your eyes will also adapt. And if you do photography, this is the same thing. When you have too much light or not enough in your camera, you will change the exposure. Okay, so here you must also do that. So this is in the sky and fog volume. And in the sky and fog volume, you have an exposure here. And here, this exposure, you see the mode is automatic. It means he try to do like human eye and adapt the camera exposure. Like when you're a human, you're outside, it's very bright, you go in a room, you know, the first second you need a few seconds of adaptation because this room is very dark. So here he will do it for you. But this is good perhaps if you do video game, but my advice is don't use it. And for this module, I don't want to use this automatic mode. I want you to use a fixed mode, because fixed mode you will control completely the image and the exposure. When you're on fixed mode, you will click on this one, and here you will adapt your exposure. Okay, and here it tells you, for example, here you have an exposure for moon lighting, or here you have an exposure for a full sun. So what I do, I can use that. So for example, I have a cloudy sun, so it will be 20 lux. Okay, so I go to my sun, and here I will say 20,000, of course, lux. Okay, so you see it's very dark. So now it tells me for this cloudy you need to use an exposure of 10. Okay, so now I go back to my sky and fog in my exposure and I use 10, and that's all. Okay, so actually it's not perfect, huh? You readjust a bit. Okay, so perhaps you readjust the exposure or you readjust the sun. Okay, so now, yeah, it looks good. So we are not at 10, we are at 11, but we are close. So always try to use the good values here first, and after the good exposure. Okay, so here if I go back, for example, to a very strong sun middle of the day, you need to readjust, okay, this exposure. So here it will be probably around 15. Okay, 14 is enough. After, you give the style that you want. Of course, you can decide to make it a bit brighter, a bit darker. That is up to you. Okay, but if you want something correct, credible, realistic from the beginning, follow this thing. Okay, so I took a bit of time on that, but it's super important, and every year we have students who, for example, give the intensity of a sun to a spotlight that they have in a room, and then all the lighting look super weird and it will never be very realistic. Okay, so that it was the sun. What I want to do, I want to create other lights in this scene, but the problem is the sun is so strong we will not see the other light. Okay, so what I will do a very very low value, like if it was the night. So I will check intensity for a moon, it's 0.5. Of course, you have full moon, quarter of a moon, half moon, and sometimes the moon has different size, so you will have variation. So if I put 0.5, okay, of course it's super dark. It tells me exposure should be around 1. So here I will change to 1. Okay, so here I will not display the grid. Yeah, I will have that. So you see here it's very dark, but it looks correct actually. But I don't know on your computer. Sometimes the problem when we do very dark image on some computer we cannot see very well. So what I will do, I will just change a little bit this moon and say perhaps it will be a bit stronger like full moon. And what I can do, why not? I will make it a bit blue. Okay. So I know it's super dark, but no worries. Now we will create other lights. Okay. So the next slide that I want to show you, it's a point light. So for that, I will right click, light, point light. Okay. So this point light by default is, so here it's not lux. Lux is only for the sun. This spotlight is 600 lumen. If I check this table for local lights, so it's 600, you know, it's between a decorative light and interior light. Okay, so in this case, of course, it's very strong. What I will do, I will do more like a candle. So candles, they say it's around 12. Okay, so let's put it to 12. Okay, and I will put it perhaps near the wall. We will see better. Okay, then what I can do, perhaps here the moon is finally a bit too strong. So you always, every time you create a new uh, um, light, sometimes you have to readjust the other. Okay, so here I will go back to my point light. I will call it candle. Good to rename immediately. And intensity, I will make it a little bit stronger. Okay, so if I put it much stronger, yeah, it will be too much. Okay, but here perhaps a temple will not have a candle but more like a torch. Okay, so which should be much stronger, so perhaps 30. Okay, it's a candle, so here they say candle color temperature could be around 2K. Me, I find it a bit too orange. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, I don't like it, so I will make it more, yeah, like that. Okay, the next thing is, so you have color, intensity, and the range, so how far this light will be sent. Okay, so here you see it's a very small sphere. The objects which are not in the sphere will not receive any light. Of course, no need to put a very big sphere because there is a strong decay on this light because it's not a very strong light. Okay, so perhaps I will move it a bit more here and I will increase it a bit more, 40. Okay, here by default this light has no shadow. Okay, so the sun has a shadow by default, but every time you will create a light there is no shadow, and that it's super important to activate it because in the assignment last semester I actually saw a lot of students who forgot to activate the shadow. So for the assignment you have to do something realistic. Without shadow it's super bad grade, okay, because it's not realistic at all. So you have to activate it here. Yeah, you enable it. You see with and without. We can see here the pillar shadow. Okay, and it's very different that the shadow system that you have in classic software, in DCC software. They all use ray tracing. In real time we don't use ray tracing. Now you can if you have a RTX card, graphic card, but it's a bit heavy. So by default, it's always what we call a light mapping. So you need here to change the resolution if you see that your shadow is very bad quality. So in this case, you can pick a value or just say I want high quality. Okay, so that you can change it later you put the highest quality, and you will decrease it only if your FPS is not correct. So why the shadow is not enabled? Because um, in when we do video game and even in animation, sometimes we try to optimize, and if in a room you have 10 lights, perhaps only 5 will create shadows, but people will not notice it. Okay, so this one is okay. So what I can do, why not, I can duplicate this torch, put it here, duplicate, okay, and so on. So I can select, why not 3, duplicate, and put them here. Okay, so actually I have too many. So here you see it put a bit of light on the tree. Okay, so that it was a point light. Perhaps one more here. So now that I have all this light, I will go to a new category of light. This is a spotlight. Okay, so light, spotlight. So here I will go a bit faster because we saw the principles: color, temperature, shadows. So the spot, you know what it is. I don't need to explain a lot. Of course, you still have intensity, all these things. You have here the angle, okay? I will just give a very different color so we can see very clearly what light do what, okay? So here, for example, I will orient it, turn on the shadow, okay? I will go to high shadow quality, okay? And the good point is because it's real time, you can see something very good quality of image, and you can really adjust everything in real time. So it's very convenient, very easy to use. Okay. So here I could create another one. I duplicate. I will just change the color, put it green. Okay. The next light, so nothing special to say about the spotlight. Huh? Oh yes, there is perhaps something. If you go in the shape, here you have a radius. This radius, actually, it simulates the size of this kind of spot, like the bulb size. And actually, if you make it larger, it will make this the size of this spot larger, you see, and then the shadows will be a bit softer. Okay, so here you have to be very careful with this value. So you see now the shadow is soft, and if I go to 0.1, now the shadow is very sharp. Okay, so I forgot what was the value by default, probably something like that. Okay, and the rest you know already, same thing that in Maya. The next light, we have area light. Okay, so this one, something that everybody like to use, but we have to be careful because like in oops, sorry, like in Maya, it's heavy. This light take more time to render, so it always gives something very nice, very soft. So here I can put it on top. If I turn off the spot, yeah, and I increase this intensity, okay, oh, it's the wrong one, this area intensity. So the good thing is even if I activate the shadows will be pretty soft, okay. Um, what else on this one? But it's like Maya, so you can change the intensity or you can change the size. So if the size is bigger, of course the intensity will be stronger. Okay, so here I will extend it. Okay, and just give a different color to show you. Okay, the influence of this light. Okay, so my advice is try not to use this area light, especially if you have shadows. So you see how blurred is the shadow here, very diffuse. Try not to use it because it's heavy, okay? But you will see if you can use it and still have a good FPS, that's fine, okay? So here I changed the intensity. Yeah, I will reduce it. So that's all for the creation of the light. And always remember when you create a light, especially a sunlight, or you have a room and you have a bulb, you have this kind of decorative light, interior light, always use this value first. Okay. After you can always go to sky and fog. Now there are more light, so I can change, why not, the exposure, okay, to make it darker or brighter. But of course, keep it realistic. For the assignment, it must be realistic. Okay, so in our case, it had to be something more like that. Okay, last thing, um, when you start to have a lot of light, my advice is to group them first. So for example, I have many candles here. So what I can do, I can right click and create empty parent. So it creates a group, and here I will call it candles. Okay, why not? I could have a group for the spot, or sometimes you will have a lot of lights in your scene. So there is a tool here. You go in Window, Rendering, and you have Light Explorer. And this one is it's a very good window. You will see all the lights of your scene. Okay, and you will see. So you will be able to turn them on or off. Okay, and you can access to the main parameter. Of course, the type, is it area, real time, we'll see that later, the range, if you use the color temperature or not. You can change the color, so here I can go to a blue light, okay, I'll go back to red. You have the intensity, shadow resolution, of course shadow activated or not. So this one is very helpful. Sometimes we could be a bit lost. There are so many lights, we don't know what do what. So you can why not turn off all the light and activate all your light one by one to be sure that everything is exactly what they had to do. So area light, spotlight, candle. Okay, so don't forget this tool. Very often I move it here in this window so I can have access. It's a bit large, but okay. So that's all for the light. Always remember, good intensity first, and after you correct the exposure. Thank you.